Right.
Yes.
And I never really did because I like to express that like just as me as a person, and in my songs I like to like talk about sort of experiences I go through in terms of like love life,
Right.
or if it's lessons I go through and just sort of like people to feel, and the positive energies I like them to see me, and like really feel it rather than just through audio sometimes as well. But also when I was young, sometimes kids thought it was cheesy.
Oh yeah.
So like all this positivity
Is
stuff.
it the high voice, the positivity?
Yeah.
Just corny.
So I was like, I don't want to do all that stuff.
Right.
So I was like, they can still see that and feel that despite like talking to them. Like half the time, like, just talking to people that really spreads that energy. Like the music does too as well. Like, J. Cole, Drake, Post, like these different artists that I like, Jeremiah, I go to that give me that sort of positive, uplifting energy. I kind of like go do the same through the music, but then when I speak to people like at shows or like in person, I like to try to like just elevate their happiness in a way. Their positivity.
Going off what you said about being called corny, people calling you cheesy. Well, I mean, making art and putting it out for people to see is very vulnerable, right? Because you're putting your own feelings into it's you, and especially with things like music, or we can talk about film later. But when you do film, once you put it out, there's no like taking it back to edit it. It's just out there for consumption or an opinion. And as a kid, that might get very overwhelming for a lot of people, having all that opinion or just all of that feedback coming in that could be very negative. So was that ever something that deterred you or held you down, and was it something that you had to grow past as your career has continued?
For some time, it took like at first I never really cared too much, honestly, growing up, because there was so much positive energy around me.
That's good. Okay.
But then sometimes looking through the comments all the time, I'd be like, wow.
Those YouTube comments, man. There's never anything good there.
Are really ferocious out here.
Nothing good.
But at the end of the day, like having that positive mindset, I kind of always thought things through and like realized, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
It's cool. I never, like over time, like I got cool with it. You know what I mean? Because people are gonna be like that. But I just want to be that person to be like, listen, you can say whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's like I just spreading positive energy for you to feel better, maybe so you don't feel that way towards other people. You know
Definitely.
what I mean? So yeah, I mean.
Have you ever at any point felt like you had to tailor your music to what people wanted you to do? Because you did just say that you broke out of having the feedback influence you, but was there ever any chance where like, oh, maybe if I did this more of my music, more people would like me, or I'd get less hate? Did that ever factor in, or was it always just stick to your guns?
When I was a little bit younger, I felt like that sometimes, but it's like I always have this thing in my mind where it's like music's like something. This is what you do. This is what you like to do. Artists, in any creative field, putting yourself out there is always something scary. And at a young age, I had to overcome those things, and luckily having the support behind me helped me do that. But it's like being a creative and doing that type of stuff. You sort of have that positive energy, just being like, you're doing this for you. You're putting yourself out there. Like, just appreciate it.
It's nice when other people, agree with your work, because we were talking about it earlier. Yeah, and people then come up to you and say, like, that spoke to me, that I enjoyed that.
And it's a really nice feeling.
Nice, yeah.
Just the other day in the library, some girl that was in one of my classes last semester looked at, or had checked out one of my songs on SoundCloud, and just, was just a casual comment like, yo, that was a good song. It felt great.
Yeah,
and that was it was pretty minor, like, interaction, but it really stuck with me later, because that feels great to have, like what we were saying, what you make means something to other people.
And you don't necessarily do it for that.
Exactly. But once you get it,
it's just like it's extra.
Exactly.
So expanding now on your timeline so far, what would you say is the most, your biggest point so far, like between 12 to 17?
He is still yet to
middle school, high school. So far.
Yeah, I mean,
so far is important. Because I was wondering when was there always a decision to come to university, and at what point did you say, okay, being in school is obviously going to take up time that could take away from what music career could be. So was it hard coming off of what you might consider your biggest point so far in your initial blow up into having to do school
No.
Or was that always the plan?
No, that was always the plan.
Yeah.
I was always very invested in school.
Good.
I love to learn. I love to
That's
learn
good.
all kinds.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
What are you doing at Suffolk?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Thank you for the opportunities.
The
Thank you.
opinions
Thank you.
expressed here
Yeah.
are not
Disclaimer. Disclaimer. We're gonna boost the sound of the disclaimer afterwards.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to come to college.
Of course.
And be in school. Even when I was doing music, I never left school. I was always
Right.
still in school. Like,
Good, yes.
that's something a lot of people never realize as well. Like I was getting A's and B's. Like,
Nice.
And traveling and
Yeah.
coming back, taking these tests. I was still doing the same thing
Mhm.
everyone else was, but also maintaining my grades. And that was like a big part of like the motivation for other people. But school was always the route.
There's
Good
a
role model,
lot of-
people. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Good role model over
There's
here.
also a lot of experience that you can gain from school, obviously.
Definitely.
And people that you
Absolutely.
can meet, networking. I think that's like an
There's nothing like
overlooked part
college
of-
for networking.
Exactly.
Just randomly meeting people that you have like
Yeah.
interests that could grow.
It's
into
not
anything.
just about education, although
Exactly.
that obviously.
I mean,
takes
look
the
at how we
forefront.
met.
Exactly.
we were playing
Exactly.
basketball.
Exactly.
Like we just always played basketball together.
Yeah.
And now here we are, man, making content. Here we are.
Exactly. It's cool stuff, man.
Yeah, I was. Sorry.
You just gotta-
My bad. I forgot we're live. We can't edit this out. So was it always then the mindset that all I have to do is grind? Like if I grind, I can have everything. I can have education. I can have music. I can have any other venture that I might be. Do you ever feel that you had to sacrifice one to really excel in the other, or that you will have to in the future?
I feel like that's something naturally felt
Right.
if you're gonna do both. But I feel like it's completely attainable, considering, there's a lot of things that I've done in my past that I was still in school doing, and I feel like there's no excuses sometimes, including for like nowadays, like the opportunities that we have in front of us.
Right.
There's not a lot that we have excuses to make. Sometimes.
Was there ever a moment or various moments where you felt like if you just maybe not giving up, but putting school to the side for a long period of time and just focusing on music because you can see an avenue, you can see down the tunnel, to see that, okay, I can just do music, music's perfect, that's more than enough for me.
Yeah.
And then school's just added pressure, added whatever, has there ever been a moment where you felt like that, and how did you get through it?
Like I never looked at school as added pressure.
Okay.
I always looked at school as just something I always wanted to do and accomplish.
Okay.
So it was just like, this is what we have to do, so how are we going to do it?
Yeah.
Mindset. It's important,
Definitely.
people. It's
So
important.
why Suffolk then? What brought you to Suffolk? Were there other options?
Yeah, there were some other options. I want to go to BU, but I didn't fill out my
That'll do it, folks. If you don't fill out that, you won't get in.
And I came to Suffolk and I was like, I like it here. And
Yeah.
I was a commuter already.
Right.
I lived off campus, and I like the community here. There's a lot of different cultures, which is really cool for me.
Definitely.
And I made
very international. You're right. Yeah, I like that.
And I met a lot of cool friends. So I was like, this place is great. I like the classes. I'm doing well here. I like it, so I'm just gonna stay.
Was it
And-
but was it new for you to come somewhere where there were a lot of international students, or
Oh,
just
no.
kids in general?
No,
Or has it always been like that?
I've always been around a lot of different
Yeah.
types of cultures and
Right.
people.
Right.
So.
Are you in touch with your Pakistani culture?
A Pakistani family?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
A
Yeah.
family, of course, family.
Oh,
but I
okay.
mean, like, with the culture, with the customs, is it, because obviously being the generation that grew up in America or in the
Yeah.
West, myself included, I imagine yourself included,
Yep.
Emilio, does your family still keep roots with that culture, with those,
Absolutely.
lineage?
My mom is straight from the village of
Definitely.
Pakistan, the Hood, and but my dad's from Chicago, and I kind of got both cultures, especially the religion thing. Growing up was there was a Muslim, and then it was Christianity. So I never
Are
really.
both of your parents religious?
Yes.
Like, quite so?
And not like extraordinarily
Right.
so, but they're
Right.
they believe in their religions.
Right.
And growing up, I kind of pulled from both, so I never really took one
Yeah.
and ran with it. So I looked at religion as more of guides, I guess, and just gave me more perspective and understanding. I never really just I'm like this is my religion, But I feel like a lot of the religions really make you feel and have different stories to make it say the same sort of things, but you know, like I always had my Pakistani family around in my hometown, and also you know my family from my dad's side, and so I was always around both cultures.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
religion
to this
thing is
day,
interesting
to this day.
because you know obviously two.
Here we go.
No, nothing
Let's not
crazy.
go down the rabbit hole.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
I was just
sorry
gonna say
about
because two obviously similar religions in Christianity and Islam with their differences, but and you said neither of your parents were very religious, but was there ever contention on like the influence of one over the other, or was it always just celebration of all facets of you?
There's a celebration of everything.
Me too. Yeah, because that was the same thing in my experience. My parents always told me that, because I don't know how you identify. If you identify black first, Pakistani first, if you identify as mixed.
We say Blackistani.
Blackistani. I like it,
Blackistani.
people. Name of this episode, Blackistani.
I put that on my song recently too, but I don't think I'm gonna release that. But I'll put the bar in another.
Yeah,
another
definitely.
song. But,
Definitely. Well, I just because my parents always preached that. You can be white, you can be black, you can be both, you can be neither. It's up to you, but we are always going to present all parts of you, right? Because I've got Nigerian, Irish, Scottish, American is its own culture. Hell yeah, you probably do too.
Yeah, just
a little bit.
Italian and Honduran.
No Scottish in there?
No
No
Scottish.
Scottish?
Just those two, 50-50.
Okay, but it was just to say that, all that to say, I think we've had similar benefits from the mixed experience, which is that you can pull multiple perspectives, diverse thought, as opposed to any one-tracked cultural thinking, for any positives or negatives that might be. Has embracing your mixed identity ever been an issue for you? Did it take you a while to